We continue on in the 2021, I don't know why my hair is so bad, 2022 season previews today with the Philadelphia Flyers. My favorite team. This video may be a little bit long. I have a lot of points and a lot of topics that I want to go over because this is my favorite team. Sure, I like the Arizona Coyotes. Sure, I've had a fandom for the Bruins. And I can go into very in-depth discussions with other teams. But I am the most passionate about this Philadelphia Flyers core. I am the most passionate about almost every single player that is on this team, that is up and coming, that I'm passionate with everyone, everything. Every single aspect, I'm passionate. I go very in depth when I talk about my Flyers. So this video may be 20, 30 minutes long. So if you're a fan of the Philadelphia Flyers and you like long YouTube videos, this is the video for you. And anyways, before we get into this, if you are not already subscribed to the channel and you're a Flyers fan or any fan of any team, please make sure to subscribe. I make videos about every single team on this YouTube channel. This is just one of, I think now 35 different Philadelphia Flyers videos that I've made. I keep playlists together to keep track of how many videos I made for each team. Kind of nerdy like that, but I like to see how many videos I've made. And, it's kind of cool to see. So, we're going to look at this team. We're going to look at their lineup last season, their key departures, their key arrivals, everything like that, all in one video. So, let's get into it. The first thing we're obviously going to talk about is last season for the Philadelphia Flyers. Last season, they were not as good as they were supposed to be. A 25, 23-8 record with 58 points. They finished 19th in the NHL, and they missed the playoffs. Yeah. Not good times. It really was not a good time. It genuinely wasn't. And the weird thing is, I saw this coming. I could see the problems that we were having from a mile away. Like, we were 11-5 at one point. We were doing so good to start off the season, which is a difference from 2018-19. Like, we were doing so good to start off the season, and I could just see it. I could just see that, like, we're getting heavily outshot, and, like, our shots, we're getting lucky with them. They're going in. Like, for a while there, Carter Hart, yes, sure, we'll get into him later. Yeah, he had a down season, but he was actually doing pretty good for a while there. And, Brian Elliott, when he came in, he won the games he was supposed to, and, he did a good job as well. And then March hit, and that was probably the worst month of my life. I'm gonna be honest and say that that probably is the worst month I've ever experienced. Just a horrible month all the way through. We were losing games constantly. They were blowouts. We lost to the Rangers 9-0, 8-3. We lost to Buffalo 6-1 at the end. We lost to Pittsburgh at points. We lost to Capitals at points. We lost it was just horrible. It didn't really get better after that. I kind of focused my time on my Arizona Coyotes after that because the Coyotes were still in contention. And I knew as soon as we lost 9-0, I literally said on Instagram, we aren't making the playoffs, not with this dumpster fire. So, no, there was no way. And I honestly just couldn't see it. So, I don't want to say I gave up on the team. I still left the door open in case if we somehow made a huge turnaround and made the playoffs. But I knew since that 9-0 loss, we weren't going to make it. Then, of course, we lost Michael Raffl and Erik Gustafsson to the trade deadline. I'm going to miss Raffl. Not really so much for Gustafsson. Gustafsson was not really I was not really a big fan of him, to be honest. And, so that was last season. Just not good overall. There was changes that had to be done. We clearly could see that. That's as far as I'm going to go, to be honest. So your key departures for the Philadelphia Flyers consist of a couple of guys here, and most of them are actually pretty big names. They lost Carsen Twarynski to the Seattle Kraken. I've always liked Twarynski. I thought it was a solid young forward. I definitely wish him the best of luck in Seattle. I'll be rooting for him. We also lost Alex Lyon, who is someone that I have seen play in real life. So I think I've seen all these guys play in real life, actually. So, I've always liked the way he played. I've always liked him. and I'm really going to miss him not playing for the Phantoms. We also lost a backup that I've been bounced back and forth on, Brian Elliott. When he retires, there's definitely going to be an extra video going out for him because I genuinely miss him. Like, I'm genuinely going to miss him. We also lost Robert Haig as well in the Ristolainen trade. I always liked Robert Haig. He was one of those third pairing, grit defensemen. I thought he was going to be solid, and I think he will definitely be solid in Buffalo. We also lost Shane Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere, the thing is with me, is like, Gostisbehere, like, he was hot and cold. And I've always said, like, I've said it so many times, I said that I thought Seattle was going to take Gostisbehere. I genuinely thought that. Because the way that Dave Hackstall played Gostisbehere was right. He only played him on the power play, offensive zone faceoffs. He never put him in the position where he had to play defense, which you may be thinking, like, well, why didn't he play forward? I don't know. Ask Shane Gostisbehere. But yeah, he got traded to Arizona along with some picks for nothing. So I'll be talking about him definitely. I'll be obviously watching him because Coyotes fan as well. We also lost Philip Myers, and I've liked Myers. I think he's a solid young defenseman. He's definitely going to thrive in Nashville. Genuinely honest. And then they also lost Nolan Patrick, who I've been very, 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 very vague on, because Patrick, I have his jersey. Yeah, I have his jersey, and I mean, it sucks. It really does to see like what he went through in Philly, but he had to move on. It's been a really bad luck year for him, and I hope he does well in Vegas. Absolutely. That's it for the key departures. We lost a lot of guys that I've grown up watching on this team, and it's generally gonna be really different not seeing these guys, on the Flyers, and I just gotta move on with it. But the key arrivals, it's kind of weird as well. We acquired Samu Tuomala, if I say that his name correctly, from the draft. I thought he looked like a pretty solid prospect. I've seen some of his highlights. He's gonna be pretty exciting. We also acquired a depth player. Of course, he comes from the Coyotes. Derek Brassard, probably a fourth liner at best. Maybe even not even a fourth liner, maybe a fill-in. We also acquired Keith Yandel after the Panthers bought him out. It's weird because I look at all the players we bought in, like I'll go into all of them, but like all the guys we brought in, like I feel like we're just trying to make Kevin Hayes good again. Like genuinely honest. Then we also acquired a backup for Carter Hart, Martin Jones. I wanted either Yaroslav Halak or James Reimer, but I guess I'll take Jones if Jones can become the Jones he was 3 years ago. I'm totally down for that. We also acquired a depth forward, and when I saw that he was coming back to Philly, I actually jumped for joy. Nate Thompson is returning. So for another season, he left to go to Winnipeg for one season. He's good on the penalty kill. In fact, I don't even have him in the first 4 lines because honestly, I don't know if he's going to, make it right out of the bat. He'll definitely be a fill-in, but I don't know. We also acquired some depth guys in Mayhew, Sealer, Fitzgerald, Zek, and Clendenning, some AHL players, obviously. And here are some big names. Ryan Ellis, biggest name there. He is the player that makes the difference. Genuinely, he's the player on that blue line that makes the biggest difference. If he is bad, we're screwed. Genuinely, if he is bad, we're screwed. Honestly, he is gonna be Provorov's partner most likely. He's going to try and make Provorov good again, hopefully. And then of course as well, you also have Rasmus Ristolainen. Also was acquired through the Buffalo Sabres. For an overpay, most definitely, but I think if Ristolainen can, bring back what he had, if he can play well in the Flyers, we're set. So that is our key arrivals, and that is our key departures. Yeah. That is a lot there. I don't really know what to say, because our team it's really rough, and I'm very optimistic as to what we're going to do this season. So, whatever, I guess. But it really all comes down to the defense. That really is what it all comes down to. Ristolainen and Ellis and Yandel are the 3 biggest players heading into this coming season for us. If they're bad, we're screwed. Genuinely, we are screwed. Now we move on to your projected lineup for the Philadelphia Flyers, and it consists of, on the top 6, Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier, and James Van Riemsdyk as your first line. Joel Farabee, Kevin Hayes, and Cam Atkinson as your third line. I also forgot to mention, I also missed Jacob Voracek and Cam Atkinson as the departure requirements. Voracek, I'm going to miss him, but I've had my problems with him. As well as that, Atkinson, if he can find a scoring touch. If Cam Atkinson can find a scoring touch again, we know he can do it. He scored 43 goals. I think it's 43, 42, maybe 41. Somewhere in the 40-goal range back in 2018-19. Sure, that was about 3 years ago. But if he can find that again, we're set. We genuinely are. And if the defense works out, Carter Hart can have his bounce back. This team is set. I look at this team and I'm like, okay, this is an underrated roster. You can call that biased all you want, but this team is genuinely underrated roster. I really like the direction we're going. We have, veteran presence in Claude Giroux, which this could indicate it's going to be his last season with the Flyers, and that would really freaking suck. Genuinely, I want him to finish his career here. Couturier, I've mentioned him as a solid two-way center. JVR, I mean, there's been rumors of JVR leaving. If there's anyone that's going to leave this team, it's probably going to be JVR, but he puts up points, so I guess it's good. And then, of course, you have young guys in Joel Farabee and Cam Atkinson as well, the goal scorer. And then you have Kevin Hayes as well, which, by the way, I never really made a video on it. I made a video on Kiva Lincolns and Cave, but rest in peace to Jimmy Hayes. That's horrible. I don't think we found out how he died yet, but doesn't matter. It's horrible, and prayers out to the Hayes family. He's definitely going to be playing for him this season. So we'll see what Hayes does. As for the bottom 6, Oscar Lindblom, Scott Lofton, and Travis Konechny is your third line. Then you have Derek Brassard, Morgan Frost, and Nicholas Aube-Kubel as your fourth line. So third line, Lindblom, good scorer. His story is amazing. He was really that motivation for us in going to the second round against the Islanders last season. He really was. Scott Lofton as well, a solid third line center. He's definitely going to be putting up points. And then Travis Konechny as well. We'll see if he has a good season. If he has a bad season next season, you could see him as that guy that leaves. But then again, you never know. As for that fourth line, Derek Brassard, it's going to be interesting to see how he does. Obviously, coming from Arizona. Morgan Frost as well, making his first appearance since the beginning of the season. I've always liked Morgan Frost. I'm excited to see how he's going to do. Of course, Nicholas Aube-Kubel as well. He didn't have a good season, but I think he can definitely have a bounce back playing fourth-line minutes. And then, of course, as the fill-in guys, you have Nate Thompson and Wade Allison as your guys. You'll see them play a couple times this season, especially Wade Allison. You could even see Allison take that spot over Kubel and play right out of the gate. Most definitely possible. So as for your defense, I was the most critical on this blue line. The absolute most critical. And I realize I have Sanheim here mentioned twice. Okay, I guess I'll just move Justin Braun up. I might be missing someone, so maybe. Your first pairing is Ivan Provorov and Ryan Ellis. This is the biggest pairing. By far. The biggest pairing. This is huge. Because, honestly, if Ellis is good and he makes Provorov good, that pairing is the best pairing. There is no doubt in my mind. That pairing is top 15 best in the NHL. Top 10 best in the NHL. Like, when Provorov's playing his best, he is unreal. When Ellis is playing his best, he is also unreal. So, I am super duper excited to see how, these two guys are going to do side by side. That is the thing that I am most excited about heading into this season. As for your second pairing, you have Travis Sanheim and Rasmus Ristolainen. I'm not sure why I have Sanheim listed twice on here. I guess I might have had a brain fart writing this down. But Sanheim and Ristolainen, if Risto can be good, that's a very solid pairing. Obviously, but we'll see how Risto does because he's been on Buffalo his entire career, and statistically, he's been one of the worst players, ever. Well, not ever, but he's been statistically one of the worst players in the entire NHL the past couple of years in a row. So, we'll see how he develops. As for the third pairing, I have Keith Yandle and Justin Braun. So we'll see how Yandle does playing with this new roster. We'll see how he does with Justin Braun. Braun, obviously, I've had my doubts with him, but, I think it's solid. And then, of course, as the fill-in guys, you have Sam Morin and Cam York. We'll definitely see York play at times this season. Absolutely. York's going to be pretty exciting to watch. Yeah, absolutely. So, that's your defense. Genuinely, when I look at that, I'm like, all right, that's pretty good. And it's so different from last year, too, because when Matt Niskanen retired, we were like, holy crap, our defense is screwed. Because Niskanen made Provorov good. and I said, like, Provorov needs to avoid having a down season. He needs to play the way he did with Ellis. Because, I mean, like, you take Provorov out of it, or you take Niskanen out of that equation, his partner last season was either Gostisbehere or Gustafsson. One of those two. And that is not going to work. So, obviously, and it's gonna be interesting. And it's just weird. Like, when Niskanen retired, like, we brought in Gustafsson, and I was like, there's no way that's going to be enough. But when I looked at Gustafsson's stats, I'm like, all right, that's solid. I think he can do okay, and then he sucked. And now he's not on the team. He's not on any team at all heading into next season. So, take that, Gustafsson. Probably because he was garbage in Montreal during the finals. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Montreal. That's later. And, of course, for your goaltenders, you have Carter Hart and Martin Jones. Oh, boy. Carter Hart is the biggest player out of anybody here. Anyone. The biggest player. If Hart is bad, the whole team's bad. Yeah. If Hart is bad, the whole team's bad. It doesn't really matter what Martin Jones does, because Carter Hart's probably going to play, 70 games. He's going to be like the Vasilevsky, because that's just how Philadelphia plays. Everyone's like, oh, rush him into battle, rush him into war. Like, they're going to play him 75 games. Just kidding. He'll probably play him 60. But with Hart, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how he does in trying to get a bounce-back season. And as for Jones, he hasn't been good in San Jose the past couple of years, so I don't expect him to be, the Jones he was 3 years ago. Although, if that Jones wants to come back, I wouldn't mind. But, it doesn't really matter how he does. It really matters how Carter Hart does. That is the biggest part of this team, the goaltending. And, heading into this season, it is really a do-or-die season for this Flyers team. And now on to my final question. Do they make the playoffs? It's every other year that they make the playoffs, and it's an even year. So, yes, we should make the playoffs, I hope. I don't expect us finishing first overall in the division. I don't expect us finishing second. In fact, I really wouldn't be surprised if we're a fifth wild card, genuinely. That's how competitive the Atlantic is. I can't imagine we make it. I can't imagine we finish first or second or even third. But, if we can make a wild card spot, that means we're going in the right direction somehow, and I would be pretty satisfied with that. So, yeah, and I mean, if you want to keep ranking the Flyers low, keep ranking us missing the playoffs, because that's what y'all did the season before 2019-20, and then we almost finished first in the division. Then you ranked us high in the playoffs, we lost to the Islanders. Then you ranked us high this season, and we missed. So, rank us low this season. We'll be better. So, thank y'all for watching. For support as later, really do appreciate it. Almost 20 minutes long. I'm surprised I kept that less than 20 minutes. But, thank y'all for watching. For support as of late, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.